everybody, and welcome to the third anniversary celebration of the Develop Your Superpowers private Facebook group. I'm thrilled to have you here in this group as we embark on a 21-day video series I've put together celebrating technology, mindset, and music. So I went over to the senior center to eat a free meal that they offer every day here in my neighborhood. And one of the other seniors invited me, so I went in and I signed up for a senior deluxe card, I think it's called. And I have to say, I was like, whoa, I don't think I'm ready to be a senior yet. There we all were, a bunch of seniors sitting at these rows of tables, and the woman with the megaphone is letting everyone know where to put their paper plates and plastic forks when they're finished. And then precisely at 11:30 a.m., the food is served. My friend, who happens to be 86, by the way, knows which table will be served first as they alternate each day. He tells me, sit here. This is the best spot. Today is fish. It was delicious. They also gave us all a little carton of milk and an orange. As we were finishing up eating, the people in the line that had strung around the corner and up Sacramento Street began coming in to get their go-to bags. It was really heartbreaking in a way, and I thought, is this my fate? Are all these people dependent on the government for food? And what am I going to do about it? So as a late blooming boomer sitting in a room filled with a generation of my peers, all looking defeated, the only thing I could say was, wow, is this really the way we're going out? I say, no, it isn't. I also felt a little embarrassed to be eating in there for free when I can afford food to eat for myself. Nevertheless, I'm going to keep going because this is my community. I'm glad I met those seniors, and I'm going to be asking them if they want to join the Develop Your Superpowers group too. You see, I'm not really one of those people that mingles with people, but I'm trying. I really love people, but I mostly stay to myself. I study this information I'm telling you about and ponder on what comes next. But I'm just a regular guy saying, hey, I found some information that you can use to completely flip the script on whatever life you're living right now. So yes, I'm looking for minglers, and we can all work together to make the world a better place. So if you love to talk to people and you want to earn some money by helping me promote this group, then sign up to be a mingler at paulgoulart.com. Otherwise, go ahead and participate in these exercises that I'm going to be going over the next 21 days. So are you ready for your first assignment? Head on over to developyoursuperpowers.com and click on that button that says Ask About for your first free gift. Now, if you have a Web 3.0 wallet, you can just connect your wallet. Otherwise, click on the button that says Web 3.0 Training and get yourself a free wallet from MetaMask, and then connect your wallet to Ask Bob. That's it in terms of an introduction. So we'll get into a bit more information as we go along the next 21 days. I'll see you tomorrow for day one in this series, and thank you for coming. Welcome to day one. You don't have to know how. I remember when I watched my first personal development video. You know, the ones that say, fake it until you make it? Now, there's a difference between fake it until you make it and being deceptive. I really didn't begin to understand these concepts I'm getting ready to share with you until I was 62 years old. And so no, that doesn't make me an expert on the subject of personal development. But then again, these aren't complicated things. In fact, they're really simple, and they're just misunderstood. And I think it's very important for people to know about them. That's why I'm doing this 21-day birthday celebration. Some would suggest I didn't have an easy life, but I'm not interested in going down memory lane and comparing horror stories with you right now. So let's not. Suffice it to say that I have had my highs and lows just like everyone else, but over the past few years, as I've cemented these ideas in my mind and seen results in my own life, I know these are useful skills to have.
Everyone wants to succeed because when we succeed, our families succeed. And when our families succeed, our communities succeed. And when our communities succeed, our world succeeds. You ever go jogging with someone who jogs 5 miles a day when you never jog? Of course not. In order to catch up to their level, you'll need to change your habit from never jogging to jogging some amount every day. Personal development is something like that. It's really, really simple, and most people just need a little direction, and they'll be off to the races. I'm going to talk more about personal development tomorrow, but part of developing your superpowers is using AI to establish your online presence. One benefit of being a bookworm and always studying stuff is you end up learning a bunch of stuff. Now, I didn't learn these things overnight, so I don't expect you to either. But I do expect you to make the effort. You really don't have to know how. I provide lots of short videos that go into detail on a lot of the basics, and I will guide you on the weekly group Zoom calls. If mindset isn't your thing, come learn about building websites. Could be that your employees, coworkers, team members, or associates are looking for help in the areas of technology, mindset, or music. Your assignment is to head over to paulgoulart.com and click on the button that says, Let's Do AI Things, and then register for the weekly group Zoom call. And I'll see you there to answer questions and help you figure this stuff out. Plus, you get a second free gift, a sparkling new website. When you sign up, you'll get an email explaining what to do next. Don't forget to also get access to Ask Bob, which is available from the developyoursuperpowers.com website. I'll see you tomorrow for day 2 in this series.
So what about mindset? Before I talk about mindset, you might be wondering why these daily videos are so short. The reason for that is personal development really works better if you show up every day and do a little bit. So I show up every day for you and ask you to show up every day for yourself, even if it's just a little bit. There's plenty of material that I've provided for you to study, but I can't make you do it. But I will make you a promise. If you show up every day, your life is going to change for the better. Now let's get into this a little more. The importance of mindset cannot be understated. Mere knowledge is insufficient, though. We must actively reprogram our minds to break free from limiting beliefs. While it may initially appear daunting, the responsibility lies within us to shape our mindset and consequently determine our outcomes. No matter how hard we try, we cannot escape this truth. We have to figure out what we want and then stay focused on that. We actually live into a future we create in our imagination. I'm on the journey too. And over the past few years, I've put together a bunch of cool stuff. And I'm so grateful for your curiosity to find out exactly why I'm so excited about it. And I'm really looking forward to helping you reach the goals you have no idea how to reach right now. That's the fun part. Although mindset is a huge part of it, there's also practical skills we all need to develop, especially in the age of AI and Web 3.0. So let's get back into it. And let me show you how you can get the best of both worlds, some practical technical skills and some mindset information, both of which will serve you well for the rest of your life. So let's connect my MetaMask wallet. Ask me to sign this signature request. And it'll log you in. Okay, so then down here on the left, there's this button called Useful Information. So you can click on that useful information. And if you haven't already, go ahead and click on Let's Do AI Things. And then under that, there's this button called Specialized Knowledge Intelligently Directed. So if we click on that, it's going to bring you to this podcast. And I upload a new chapter each week. So these are the personal power books that I narrated 52 and a half hours of. Okay. So then you click on here to get the free video recordings and study notes for volume 1. So you click down here, and then you're going to opt into a page to get these personal power videos. They're really cool, and you'll find them fascinating, I'm sure. At the beginning of 2020, when I was first getting into this mindset information, I recalled some books I read way back in the 70s called Personal Power. By some stroke of good fortune, I was able to find a copy online, and it turns out they were a collector's item. So I proceeded to narrate them. It was at the start of the pandemic, and I thought, what would I want to leave behind if I died? The information in these recordings is what I would leave behind, so do enjoy them. In all, there are 52 and a half hours of recordings. So begin listening to the audio recordings, starting with volume 1, chapter 1. And also sign up to get the video recordings and study notes for volume 1 while you're at it. And then register and come to the free weekly group Zoom calls on Sunday for discussion, questions, and comments. Now, some of the people I want to work with may not be ready to invest money in my program Thinking into Results, which I facilitate continuously in 6-month cycles. The next cycle begins on August 24th, 2023. For those of you who, for whatever reason, aren't ready to do my program, the personal power books I narrated, along with your attendance at my weekly group Zoom calls, will give us an opportunity to get to know each other better, and your only investment is your time and effort. This really is an excellent opportunity for you, as the information in these personal power books really is the foundation to the practical goal-achieving system we use in the Thinking into Results program. When you're ready to get your hands dirty and work with me directly to get what you want, book a call with me. The link is on the developyoursuperpowers.com website. Did you know that 95% of everything we do is not done consciously? That's an unbelievable statement, isn't it? Your assignment for today is to watch this video of Bob Proctor explaining how the mind works. It's fascinating. I'll see you tomorrow for day 3 in this series. So I just wanted to share a little bit. You go to developyoursuperpowers.com site, and then you click on this Ask Bob button, and that's how you're going to get to the Ask Bob app. It takes a couple seconds for it to load up. Might be because of the MetaMask wallet. I'm not sure why. But anyway, have a little patience. And then here, if you have a MetaMask wallet, you just click on Connect Wallet. Okay. If you don't have a MetaMask wallet, you click on this Web 3.0 training, and it's going to take you some training materials. It's really cool. So let's see what's up. Your assignment yesterday was to watch the video of Bob Proctor explaining how the mind works. That is the best 24 minutes you're ever going to spend, believe me. If you haven't already watched that, please pause this video and go back and do that. Now, we talked about some mental tools we all have and said we've got to learn how to use these tools. And if we do, we can have anything we want. So what do you want? You want to quit smoking? You want to lose some weight? You want to find your soulmate? Come on, don't be a pussy. What do you really want? You want to have a little fun? I mentioned that my next Thinking into Results course starts on August 24th, 2023. So I want to have 50 or more people registered into that course. Impossible could be your first thought. But remember this, you set the goal and you guess at the date. So what I have is a goal that's simple and measurable that I don't know how to achieve, which is a perfect candidate to be what we call a C-type goal. Remember, an A-type goal is a goal you already know how to do. A B-type goal is a goal you think you can do. And a C-type goal is a fantasy. You have no idea how to do it, but you are willing and able to do it. Once you're clear on your C-type goal, it already exists. You simply have to find out how to do it. As Bob said in the video, you will automatically draw to yourself everything you need to reach your goal. Trust that. Feel that. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to use AI to help you develop some ideas to reach your goal. So your assignment is to listen to the lesson 1 preview from Thinking into Results. But are you ready for this? I want you to listen to it every morning for the next 14 days. And I'm going to do the same thing. It only takes about 25 minutes. Do you want to flip the script of your life or not? Okay, then. Use day 3 as your starting point, and let's find out what's up. Invest a little time with this and you won't be disappointed. I'm going to be with you every step of the way, unless, of course, day 3 stops you. We'll see you tomorrow, and thanks for watching. So what's your story? Before we start, did you watch the lesson 1 video already? If not, pause this video and invest this time in yourself. Remember, you just need a little bit every day. Part of developing your superpowers is to establish your online presence. And for that, you're going to need to develop your story. For most people, that's an evolving process. And I found something you can use that will help you tremendously with that effort. So mystorybrand.com, I can't remember if it was free or if it's something you have to pay a subscription for, but in either way, you fill out this, you're actually developing a story for your brand. And it was invented by this guy named Donald Miller. He's really, really great guy. And next to each of these little categories in this worksheet, he's got a little video. So I'm just going to play the beginning of this first video so you can get the idea. There's a video for each section. So you watch the video and then you fill out the section. And then at the end, you end up with this whole story brand. It's really cool. So let's listen.
Now that you have made a brand script decision and you've put the aspirational identity of your customer into that brand script, we know where the story is going. I mean, every decision that we make about what goes into our brand script needs to lead our customers to become this kind of a person. And so now that we've got the end of our brand script figured out, I want to go all the way back to the beginning. I want to talk about our character and what they want. We have to define something that our character wants. A story only gets started when we define that something. If we haven't clearly defined it, people are still waiting for the story to get going. Now, there are 2 mistakes that screenwriters make when they're trying to determine what it is that their character wants. And they're the same mistakes that business people make. And they're this. I mean, the first thing is they'll use kind of vague and inside language. And in screenwriting, what that means is I can't exactly figure out what this character wants. I mean, it seems like maybe they want a better life or something like that, but it's not clear, right? Think about this, you guys. When John Kennedy ran for president, he didn't stand up in front of the American people and say, "We will build a competitive space program that will compete with the Russians, and in the R&D for that program, we will spin off a myriad of products that will boost our economy, both in the food sector, in the engineering sector, and industrial." That's not what he said. You know what he said? We're going to put a man on the moon. That's clear.
So that's perfect. It's a very simple, very clear, let's put a man on the moon. I love it. So anyway, that's Story Brand. And it's a very valuable tool. And I think you'll find it Very helpful when you're trying to come up with your story brand. So check that out. And once you've developed your story, you're going to have a very clear idea of what to put on your website. And more importantly, once you're clear on your story, everything is going to fall into place. Remember, when you sign up to do AI things, we show you how to get your story into your website. In fact, we give you a website and the rest is up to you. So go over to paulgoulart.com and sign up to do AI things if you haven't already. So I used mystorybrand.com to come up with part of the story for developyoursuperpowers.com. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how to use AI to help you with your promotion and follow-up. Remember on day one, I asked you to connect up your Web 3.0 wallet to the Ask Bob app, which you can get to by clicking on the Ask Bob button on developyoursuperpowers.com. Let me show you. Here's the developyoursuperpowers.com website, and here's the button you click on for the Ask Bob app. When you click on the Ask Bob app, then you can either connect your wallet, or if you don't have a wallet, then you can click on this Web 3.0 training button and get some training on how to get a wallet. I'm going to go ahead and connect my wallet. And then it's going to sign me into Ask Bob. And then I'm going to go over here to, well, I already did it. So I'm just going to click on over here where I have a safe chat. And what I did is I wrote in information to Ask Bob about my business. And I told Ask Bob a little bit about my business, the fact that I'm looking for people to help me promote the business. And I wanted to have Ask Bob develop me some sales scripts that these people could use to follow up with people that are interested in my programs. Okay, so I wrote that all out. And then here's the scripts that Ask Bob came up with. The first example here is, hi, so-and-so, this is my name, calling from my business. I wanted to reach out because I noticed you showed interest in our program on our website. I just wanted to see if you had any questions or if there's anything specific you'd like to know about developing your superpowers in technology, mindset, and music. We have a limited number of spots available, so I wanted to make sure you had all the information you need to make a decision. Can I answer any questions for you? So it's as easy as describing my business and then making the request. And then Bob comes back with a bunch of, in this case, 10 scripts. That's excellent. So the question is, who's going to use these scripts to follow up with the people that show interest in my programs? Is it me? Is it someone who's helping me? And how do we get people to sign up? So this is what I mean by when you're picking a goal, a C-type goal, you don't know how, okay? And not knowing how is going to cause you to ask these types of questions. And then it's going to show up. The answers are going to show up of what to do. So you can ask Bob to help you with all these things specific to your business or idea. And then I can help you with these things on the weekly group Zoom calls. Isn't that perfect? Alrighty, so you've got a message and something to say when someone expresses an interest. That makes things so much easier because order is nature's first law. So your assignment is to get connected to the Ask Bob app and sign up to do AI things, and let's turbocharge your goal-seeking activities. If you're already signed up, then register for the weekly group Zoom call for questions and discussion and continue working on your story brand. And I'm going to see you tomorrow for day 5 when it's going to be all about action. And keep going, you're doing great. You better get a wiggle on. My mom used to say, I better get a wiggle on, which meant you better get moving. And when it comes to action, there's the practical things we all need to do as part of living. And then there's things that need to happen on the invisible side. So speaking of the practical side, did you watch the lesson 1 video today? If not, pause this video and go back and listen to that. It doesn't make any sense until you actually try it, but I'm going to ask you to do something in addition to listening to the lesson 1 video every day. Are you willing to trust him? Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to write something down that raises your frequency to one that matches the frequency you would be on if you were to manifest your C-type goal. For example, a statement that would raise my frequency to one that matches my goal would be 50 or more people have registered into my Thinking into Results course this month. The objective is to write this out each day 100 times. Now, you may only be able to write it out 5 times before you say this is nonsense and stop. But continue working on this each day and see what happens. This is one way to reprogram your subconscious mind. And reprogramming your subconscious mind is what needs to happen if you're to have different results. Now, you're going to feel uncomfortable, but you're not going to be feeling uncomfortable because what you have to write down on the paper 100 times is too long, or that it's going to take too much time. The uncomfortableness is caused by mixing this Y idea with your X-type conditioning. Nothing more, nothing less. This is explained very clearly in the video of Bob Proctor explaining how the mind works, which was shared in day 2. So if you don't have any fear, or you begin feeling too comfortable, then your C-type goal isn't big enough, and it needs to be adjusted. Keep going. You're doing great. Enjoy the message in this song, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 6. Pretend you're happy when you're blue. It isn't very hard to do. And you'll find happiness without an end whenever you pretend. Remember, anyone can dream, and nothing's bad as it may seem. The little things you haven't got could be a lot if you pretend. You'll find a love you can share, one you can call your own. Just close your eyes, she'll be there. You'll never be alone. And if you sing this melody, you'll be pretending just like me. The world is mine, it can be yours, my friend. So why don't you pretend? And if you sing this melody, you'll be pretending just like me. The world is mine, it can be yours, my friend. So why don't you pretend? Okay, I hope that So if you've been listening to lesson 1 video every day and writing out the statement that puts you on the frequency you'd be on if you achieved your C-type goal, and you've written that out 100 times, then congratulations, yes. Although this is very simple to do, it's not really that easy, is it? You know what else it isn't? It's not actions moving you closer to your goal. Watching the lesson 1 video and writing out your affirmation is what puts you on the frequency you need to be on. But action is what's going to get it done. If you are like most people, your mind will come up with all kinds of things to do other than the things that are going to move you closer to your goal. It's fine to do things that aren't moving you towards your goal, but why would you? Exactly. Why would you not take actions that are moving you towards your C-type goal? There's really only two reasons. First one is fear, and the second one is you haven't defined your C-type goal. Easy enough to fix. But let's back up a little bit, because before you can take action, you first have to make a decision. Decision-making brings order to your mind, and indecision causes disintegration. So let me ask you a question. Have you made a decision to develop your superpowers? If yes, where do you want to start? If you want to start with technology, sign up and come to the Saturday group Zoom calls. If you want to start with mindset, come to the Sunday group Zoom calls. If you want to start with music, well, I'm still working on that part of the program. Now, Bob Proctor wrote a great article on decision, and today's assignment is to read his article and build a mental picture of exactly how you would like to live. When you get the vision, freeze frame it with a decision, and don't worry about how you will do it or where the resources will come from. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 7. We've come a long way in 7 days, and if you've been following along, then you've watched the lesson 1 video from day 3, and you're writing out your affirmation 100 times, which puts you on the frequency you would be on when you achieved your C-type goal. Remember, the resistance you have to writing out the affirmation 100 times is twofold. First, it doesn't make any sense. Second, your uncomfortableness is because you are mixing the Y idea with your X-type conditioning. If you've been doing this, then you might not be thinking it's so silly because something seems to be shifting. The reason it seems to be shifting is because it is shifting. As you become more aware, you will see the things you need to reach your goal coming into your field of view, and all you need to do is act on these things. A really great way to reinforce the goal you have in mind is visualization. Don't confuse your vision with a plan. There is no inspiration in a plan, but there sure is in a vision. If you search on YouTube for visualization music, you will find some to listen to while you get yourself in a comfortable area where you can let your mind wander and visualize the future you're living into. Start with 10 minutes every morning. You could do it before you listen to lesson 1 and write out your affirmations. You are definitely on the right track, so keep going, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 8. So what is inspired action? This 21-day video series could be considered inspired action. This action is inspired by the visualization of my having 50 or more people registered into my Thinking into Results program this month. The energy came in from the idea of, what if I helped 173 people, which happens to be the number of people in this group, flip the script of their life with this 21-day video series? In my visualization, I could see people who never participated in the group at all feeling inspired to take action and sign up to do AI things, and others began studying the specialized knowledge information I recorded. Of the 173 people that took action and flipped the script, 50 of them registered into my program. But which 50 are they? Maybe they're not even in the group. Maybe they're a friend or a family member of somebody in the group. That is left to the invisible forces at work. Remember, you don't have to know how when you set a C-type goal.
There are thousands of people on the Zoom calls, and people are finding out how easy it is to establish their online presence, create offers for people, and begin building relationships with them. It's really amazing. Everybody's discovering that their image of themselves could be a lot bigger, and they're glad they came across my material. They've watched me over 3 years, and they see something has changed in me. They sense something is working in my life, and they want to have it work in their life too. Remember, you can set the goal, but you can only guess at the date. So what are you visualizing? Make it big and beautiful, and then listen. You will know what to do, or at minimum, what needs to be done, and inspired actions will propel you forward if you take action. What inspired actions are you taking to move closer towards what you visualized? Anybody want to say? Do 10 minutes of visualization and continue listening to the lesson 1 video from day 3 and write out your affirmation 100 times, which puts you on the frequency you would be on when you've achieved your C-type goal. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 9. Yesterday, I asked you what inspired actions are you taking towards achieving your goals. The thought may have crossed your mind, and then you may have stopped short of posting in the group, what are those inspired actions? It could be you took no inspired actions towards your goal, or it could be that you think inspired actions you've taken are too small or that they're unimportant. Look at it another way. Each of us is a broadcasting station, but we're also a receiving station. The way this inspired action thing works is we have to start with a vision. And yesterday we talked a little bit about visualization. If you haven't watched the day 7 video, please go back and watch that. Now, if you build a big enough vision, you're going to have some self-doubt. And if you don't have any doubt, then the vision isn't big enough. Okay, so now that you've got a vision big enough that you have a knot in your stomach when you wake up in the morning, then and only then will you be able to learn how to manage your self-doubt. We're going to get into specific things you can do to manage self-doubt, but the simple answer is to believe. When you start to have doubt, turn this song I put in a link in the description up full blast and listen for inspired actions to take. And remember, continue watching the lesson 1 video from day 3 and write your affirmation. When the dot-com crash came, I owned a house in Antioch and everything was going good. But I found out people that I had considered to be great friends all seemed to turn against me. I found out they were lying about me behind my back and basically taking advantage of my generosity, mistaking it for stupidity. I pulled back. I stopped being generous. I was angry. I felt betrayed. I gave up. Right around that time, my mom passed away, and my family members that didn't live in town gathered together. We all met at various homes in the area, but nobody came to my house. Each time we met up, I would give everyone hugs, and when it was time to leave and then head home, wishing somebody would come to my house to comfort me, but it didn't happen. And of course, I never asked. I collapsed all that into thinking they didn't love me, and then bundled that all up with the dot-com crash, meaning they didn't love me either. And then lumped onto all that the idea that all my friends turned out to be traitors and left me to die. Soon after, some realtor came along and tricked me into selling my house. The cash I made from the sale was quickly depleted, and I ended up working as a security guard at Safeway, standing at the front of the store, stomach growling, making sure nobody stole anything. It was a nightmare. But it was a nightmare of my own making, and things continued spiraling down. I went from being a security guard at Safeway to being a security guard at one of the high-rises downtown. They stuck me in the lobby, and I'd see all the workers coming in and going up in the elevators to their fancy jobs, where, of course, I had convinced myself that I wasn't wanted either. I was a bundle of terrible energy, and even got in an argument with my supervisor, And they changed my hours to 11 p.m. to 7 p.m. And my post was a little swivel chair out on the loading dock. Every hour I would get up and walk the perimeter of the building. And that little swivel chair, it was right in front of a great big dumpster. So the smell wasn't that great either. Now, this downward spiral had lasted almost 5 years. I was broke, angry, unloved, and sick of my situation. One day, I didn't know how it happened, but I had an epiphany that the thing I hated most about being broke was that I had nothing to give to people. Even my smile was gone. They put me back on day shift, and I stopped at Walgreens on the way in, and I spent $1.99 for a bag of 20 ballpoint pens. The next day, when I came to work, I gave pens to all the other security guards, and I repeated that every day for a week. Soon, I was sharing my smile again, and although I was still broke and I hated my job, I was grateful that I wasn't out there on the loading dock anymore. I was finding myself being grateful when lunchtime came and I had food to eat, grateful for the sunshine and the birds singing, grateful that I had a roof over my head. I still had a long way to go, but looking back, consciously being grateful was the turning point. What are you grateful for? Write it out and share some of the things you're grateful for with the group and keep going. Don't forget to watch the lesson 1 video from day 3 and write out your affirmation. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 11. If you're living in an 8x10 room and you're writing down, I live in a 4-bedroom home that I own 100 times a day, I can guarantee that something's going to shift. And there's a pretty good chance you'll be having some new neighbors in the near future if this is the case. That was me a few short years ago. But don't tell people you're doing this unless they're supporting you in some way. It's completely illogical and they'll think you're crazy. I've used myself as the example throughout these videos, and I'm going to give you one more personal example, and then I'm going to share with you some things that Bob taught me about growing up and have you look to see how it applies to you in your life. I have always been one of the most happy-go-lucky people you'd ever want to meet. And then in 2002, everything suddenly fell apart. That's when I found out that everybody wasn't looking after me the same way I thought I was looking after them. Turns out it was all a story. Now, I put a link to a 3-hour talk by Werner Erhard called Heart of the Matter. I think you'll like it. Werner's information is what got me headed in the right direction in 2007. So what's that got to do with flipping the script of your life? Now, the gist of it was covered during the first 7 days of this video series, and this final bit by Werner is just for context. Everything is a story, and we're the one writing the story. You can use the story brand idea I presented on day 4 and consciously make yourself the star of your own movie. It will turn out to be the most exhilarating experience you'll ever have. Imagine doing that every day. Keep going. I would definitely continue to review the video from day 2 where Bob talks about how the mind works and introduce a why idea to your subconscious that scares the daylights out of you. Imagine just how much adjustment has to happen for an acorn to grow into an oak tree. When you plant that acorn, there's no doubt that given the right soil and condition, that thing's going to grow into an oak tree. With human beings, it's a little bit different because we can grow into anything we can imagine, even if the soil isn't right and the conditions are poor. We will pull from the universe all the things we need to match the frequency of whatever we consciously or unconsciously are thinking about. That's the whole purpose of a goal. It's to grow. We are goal-achieving organisms, and we get to choose which goals we want to materialize. Bob showed me how to materialize these goals, and I'm showing you what Bob showed me. You're the one that's going to have to make it happen. Now, when I say 50 or more people have registered into my Thinking into Results course this month, what I really mean is I get to guide 50 or more people into a life they can't even dream is possible. But it is. I don't even know who these people are. but there's a pretty good chance that if you've made it to day 11, that you may be one of them. Now that's exciting. So continue watching the lesson 1 video and writing out your affirmation, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 12. So getting away from the invisible side of things, what is it that you plan to promote using technology and mindset skills? People don't buy quarter-inch drills because they want quarter-inch drills. They buy quarter-inch drills because they want quarter-inch holes. They want the benefit of the drill, not the drill. So in the context of your business or service, what are your quarter-inch holes? If you've been with me this past 11 days, you know that I think there's something inside of all of us that is beyond our imagination in terms of power, and it's unlimited. When you're trying to sell your quarter-inch holes, you ask questions like, what kind of work do you do? How long have you been doing that? How'd you get into it? Where do you live? How long have you lived there? Then in idle conversation, you make your pitch. You say something like, listen, if I told you that you can have anything you want, what would it be? I'm serious, what would it be? I'm on vacation right now, but I'd love to talk about what you want because I think I've got something that can show you how to get it. Why don't you go over to developyoursuperpowers.com and find a time that works for you and book a call with me. You'll be glad you did. So simple. See you tomorrow for day 13. We want your business to grow up. We don't want it to go sideways or down. We want it to grow up. Spirit is always for expansion and fuller expression. We've found that the thing often missing for people is their image of themselves, where we have to help them build the image of the person that's going to be the success they want to be. I want you to take a pen and write out, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then describe in the present tense how you'd like to see yourself in your business. When I got into this business, I was just a computer nerd and knew nothing about sales. I was told to do exactly what Bob said to do. And you know what he told me to do? He said, don't go out and see if people will buy my product. They don't want the product. He said, sit down and describe yourself as the successful person you want to be. Everybody wants what you have. You just have to make them aware of it. So we start with our own mind. The seed in the acorn only attracts what's in harmony with it. So how did the acorn become an oak tree? The acorn was planted in an environment conducive to its growth. The acorn itself is the seed, and the seed has a pattern plan in it, a nucleus that controls the vibration of it. Everything vibrates, nothing rests. You see this hourglass? Now the sand and the hourglass are the same thing. They're just vibrating differently, right? The sand and the glass are exactly the same thing. They're just vibrating at a different frequency. So as we understand the laws that govern the growth of the acorn, we will understand that we grow by the same law. So we want to focus on the programming. The acorn is planted in the earth, and energy is attracted to it, and it becomes one with the acorn. Think of that poor little acorn all jammed up with all that earth up against it. It's the same thing with people. We're all jammed up against each other, just like that acorn. Now, the earth that's all squished up against that acorn isn't on the same vibration of the seed in that acorn. And unseen forces send energy that is on the same vibration as that acorn. And when it reaches the acorn, pretty soon an oak tree is sprouting up. How did that happen? A pattern plan is in the seed and controls the vibration of the seed. The energy that creates the oak tree was always here. It's in harmony with and is attracted to the seed. The acorn is in the earth in an environment conducive to its unfolding. The energy from the oak tree is in the universe, and the law of attraction brought them together. Stay with me here. Your dream is very important, and you have to make it very clear. You want to describe who you want to be in exact detail. And if you don't, it isn't going to happen. And if you do, it's got to happen by law. That's what's so incredible about being a human being. Unlike the acorn, which can only be an oak tree, we can plant any seed we want and then let nature do its work. Consider what seed are you planting, and then review the information from day 6 on decision. Want is the only prerequisite. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 14. Bob wrote a text to one of his clients. He said, something you must remember. There's a huge difference between I'm going to do it and I'm doing it. One will get you nothing. The other will create a fortune. You have to play hardball with yourself if you want to make it happen. Refuse to let yourself off the hook. He could have written that to any business person that's not doing the amount of business they want to do. And believe me, I can use this message in my business all the time. Otherwise, I will let myself off the hook if I'm not careful. It brings me back to how the mind works and the stickman image, where you have the mind, the body, and the results. If you remember, you've got the conscious and the subconscious mind. Now, the funny part, it's hilarious, really, is a lot of people know what they should be doing, and then they don't do it. For example, a big insurance company took this idea and directed its agents to get in front of a customer skin to skin before 9 a.m. every morning and ask them to buy $100,000 worth of insurance. They didn't have to sell it. They just had to ask the question. Their sales went through the roof just from being in front of the client and asking them to buy. And take this apart and make it simple. You know how to be in front of somebody before 9 a.m., right? And you know how to ask them to buy, right? But you don't do it. You say, I'll wait till tomorrow. It's already Wednesday, I'll start on Monday. Then it's, oh, the hell with it, let's go play golf. My point is, there's all kinds of circumstances and things that will stop you from doing what you know to do until you force those things to become part of your paradigm. It's not that difficult, and I know if I can do it, you can do it. But if you don't play hardball with yourself, you're going to stay right where you are. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't use it, demonstrate it, get out there and help someone with it, your way is not going to work. I know, because here I am doing it Bob's way, because my way isn't working. Take a look at your results. The results always tell the truth. They tell exactly what's going on inside. You cannot let your paradigm control you. Bob told me I should be making 3 sales presentations a day. I'm actually beginning to make that happen. How about you? What is something you know you should be doing in your business, but you're not? I can show you how to turn that around. Are you ready to take action? Well, then see you tomorrow for day 15. There's a book I'm reading right now called The More I Learn, The More I Love. And it's by Wendy Dida. It's really good. And I want you to get this book. And the reason why is because for a few years now, I've been working on my self-image. And if you want to be successful, you really got to get rid of that false self. I'm going to read you a few paragraphs from the book. And then I want to say something about it. So on page 61, she says, as a result of conditioning, most people hide behind their own wall of insecurities or some sort of mask to fit in between fine lines of what is socially acceptable and what has been expected of them throughout their entire lives. Now, this type of conditioning creates the false self. Sadly, so many get so used to living this way that they completely forget who they really are. I certainly was no exception. It wasn't until I surrendered into the shift that I shed the miserable wall and began to live an authentic life. Look around. The conditioned mind will keep many stuck in a loveless marriage, unfulfilling friendships, unrewarding jobs, and simply living a life that simply does not give them life. It's heartbreaking, really. We are too wrapped up in what we think other people will think, so that we settle for a life of regrets. Your incessant mind chatter will continue to beat you down and make sure you remain in your comfort zone, doing exactly what you've been programmed and conditioned to do. Living a life of false appearances will leave a hole in you, feeling empty. You continually live a lie, portraying a life that is really non-existent. You see, when you're living a life that is not in alignment with your truth, everything thereafter begins to unravel. It may seem so insignificant at the time, and you may not even notice, but as time goes on, you start to wonder, will things ever go my way? Feelings such as anger, resentment, depression, and anxiousness will rise to the surface. Oftentimes, after repeatedly giving your time, energy, and money toward a life that you're not in alignment with, leaves you feeling completely depleted. That's not living, that's existing. It isn't until you become fully conscious, aware, and present in your life that you begin to initiate the desired change and make the necessary shift. Most people are unaware that they've been programmed and have accepted everything they've been exposed to. Their beliefs have been embedded deep within their subconscious mind. And that's exactly where ego conditioning and paradigm reside. What Wendy's talking about in this book is so good. The book I'm talking about, as I said, was called The More I Learn, The More I Love. And she's writing this about what she learned from Bob Proctor. I love being a PGI consultant because all we do is help people. We help them break out of the slot that they're in. You could use this book as a guide to get you to where you want to go. I'll see you tomorrow for day 16. Everybody in an organization or business really has to understand the mindset and skill set to master selling. It's something you should want to master if you've got something you're bringing to the world. Selling is doing something for people, not doing something to people. If you're going to be doing something for people, you have to figure out how you're going to help them. And if you're going to figure out how to help them, you're going to have to figure out how to know them. So let's look at the mindset of someone that's going to do this. There's 4 points. Number 1, clarity. You have to have clarity. If you don't have clarity in your business, you'll be in a nervous state and you'll be uptight. You're never going to sell anything to anybody that way. Number 2, you have to be motivated. You've got to be motivated. There's got to be something inside that really wants you to get out there and do a lot better than you're doing. So how do you get motivated? Well, you got to have a purpose. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you'll probably never be motivated. Now I've fallen in love with helping you improve the quality of your life. It doesn't matter who you are. If I can help you improve the quality of your life, I want to do it. That motivates me every morning. So number 3 is commitment. You've got to be committed to the profession you're part of. If you're not committed, you're toast. It isn't something you have to think about. If you fall in love with what you're doing, you're going to be committed to it. And last but not least, you've got to be persistent. You know where you're going and you know you're going to get there. Now, in every project, there's an escape hatch. And if you don't bolt those escape hatches shut, the first little bump on the road and you're going to be heading for the escape hatch. So persistence is something you definitely need. So there's the 4 points for mindset: clarity, motivation, commitment, and persistence. Now let's look at the skill set. Prospect. You've got to know how to prospect. And I know you've heard this many times, but everybody is your prospect. You may be attracting them, but if you don't prospect them, you're not going to have anybody to talk to. This 21-day video series is a form of prospecting. I can send people here to see what this is all about, and they can come join me on my Zoom calls. It's because I love to present this information. You may need to find people who will prospect for you, but you've got to prospect and tell people what you've got. Number 2 is the presentation. You've got to have a presentation. You've got to get people's attention and then get them interested in what you're doing. If I don't have a good presentation, that's not going to happen. You've got to get their attention, get them interested in what you're doing, and then you've got to get them to want what you've got. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Obviously, I care, otherwise I wouldn't be putting together these videos and trying to get your attention. Number 3 is closing. You have to know how to close. If you can't close, you can't sell. This is where most people fail. People are afraid to ask for the check, the credit card, or the payment. I was like most people, and I was afraid too, until I understood that I'm going to ask them to buy what they want. If you find out what people want, and what you have is that, then you're going to do very well. But you have to ask for the sale. Number 4 is follow-up. If you're not following up, you're losing. So these skills are essential. So then you have marketing. You're going to have to market yourself. That's why I have my Let's Do AI Things Zoom calls. I show people how to get their message out there. Last but not least, referrals. You've got to ask for referrals. So there's your mindset and skill sets. So I want you to study this and make sure you're a crack shot in these areas, and don't let anyone try to convince you that you can't sell what you've got. You can not only learn how to do these things, you can become a master at these things. No matter how awkward you may feel, make up your mind to be a master at this. You know what a master does? He never stops improving. See you tomorrow for day 17. Six-point selling mindset. I've been talking a lot about selling because this really is the core to every business or endeavor. And look, here we are on day 17. And if you started listening to lesson 1 for 14 days, starting back on day 3, then this is your 14th day. So congratulations. If you've been doing the exercises and writing your affirmation, you should have a very clear idea of what you want. Now, there's always time to continually fine-tune the actions you take when you've got a clear and definite goal you're shooting for. So remember, with your C-type goal, you don't know how, but you're willing. Today, I want to share some things with you that Bob shared with me about sales. He said it's the highest paid profession in the world, but it's also the lowest paid profession in the world. Now, how does that work? The difference is what's going on in the mind of the salesperson. Even if you're not in the sales profession, there's some things I learned from Bob on this subject which are good to know so you can really understand how to improve your sales success. The first thing he mentioned is your mental preparation. You've got to get your mind in a good state. So Bob came up with a 6-point selling mindset. Number 1 is relax. No matter what's going on in your mind, you're going to transmit that to your prospect. So if you're uptight, they're going to get uptight. If you're nervous, they'll be nervous. So let your jaw relax. Let your jaw relax right now. Let the stomach, all the abdomen muscles relax. We do this before we go on a sales presentation, and we make sure we stay that way. Number 2 is totally relax. Number 3 is have only one objective in mind. You want to get to know your prospect. Number 4 is ask good questions. Find out who they are. Where do they come from? What do they do? Do they have a family? You know, how well do they do? How much do they earn? How much do they want to earn?
Number 5, listen to understand. We're listening to understand what their goals are, what they want, and what they're in love with. Number 6, you are there to help the prospect. How are you going to help them if you're not relaxed? Now, this isn't rocket science. You could put these things into the mix for yourself pretty quickly. When you meet with someone, you have one objective. You want to get to know them. Ask good questions in a relaxed manner. Then when you listen, actively listen to understand. You want to understand where they're coming from. What do they really want? Remember, you are there to help the prospect. Burn these points into your mind and have some fun with it. I'm getting really good at this, but not by accident. I'm getting good at this because I'm trying. You can too. See you tomorrow for day 18. Someone asked Bob one time what his secret to winning was. And he said his secret was he didn't like losing. And he said he wins because he keeps studying. Now, one of the things he studied was good questions. I'm going to share some of these good questions with you and see how they fit with your business. This is for when people have asked for more information. So you would respond, tell me a little bit about yourself. What are you currently doing? This is really about the other person. This is not about you. They don't really care about you. Most people are focused on themselves. So if you focus on them too, they're really going to like you. Listen to understand. You don't listen to hear. You listen to understand. You want to find out where they're coming from and what they want. Do you have a family? How long have you been working at what you're presently doing? How did you get started doing what you're doing? Are you enjoying it? In some surveys, they say 80% of people aren't happy. What is it that you really want? I really love this question because I know that I can help people get virtually anything they want. Do you have a goal that you want to reach? When do you want to reach it by? If we start getting answers, we're going to start building rapport. Think of some questions you can ask your prospects, then be relaxed and listen to understand. It's all about them. Now, if you're not convinced about your own product and you don't believe in it, this isn't going to work. Because once you get these ideas down, your business is going to explode. I can't wait to help you with that. So see you tomorrow for day 19. I don't know about you, but I study a lot. And I read something today that just blew me away. It was from a book called Think and Grow Rich. And it said this: it should be encouraging to know that practically all great fortunes began in the form of compensation for personal services. Wow, that's what I've got. And if you're in the business of providing personal services, that's what you've got too. But check this out. It goes on. Broadly speaking, there are two types of people in the world. One type is known as leaders, and the other type as followers. Decide at the outset whether you intend to become a leader in your chosen calling or remain a follower. The difference in compensation is vast. The follower cannot reasonably expect the compensation to which a leader is entitled, although many followers make the mistake of expecting such pay. It's no disgrace to be a follower, but it's no credit to remain a follower. Most great leaders began in the capacity of followers. They became great leaders because they were intelligent followers. The trick in any business is to find someone who has done very well in that business and then follow them. I found Bob 3 years ago, and I've been following him. The reason I've been talking about sales so much is because every business has to generate sales or there is no business. I'm looking for people to help me with sales. So if any of this resonates with you and you're interested in doing that type of thing, book a call with me and we can talk about it because I need your help. Otherwise, apply these ideas to your own business. It will really make a difference. There's so much value in these videos I've been putting together, and I'm looking forward to having you join me for the last couple of days of this series. And I really appreciate you investing the time. You know, you have so much potential locked up within you, and we can help you bring this to the surface. See you tomorrow for day 20. When you write out your affirmation 100 times per day and listen to a video every day for 14 days, it gives you something that you just can't buy. It's one of the best habits that I've ever formed. The quality of persistence is to the character of the human, like what carbon is to steel. Can you imagine steel without carbon? How do you form the habit of persistence? In other words, how do you make persistence automatic? There's 4 simple steps outlined in the book Think and Grow Rich on how to do this. Number 1 is a definite purpose backed by a burning desire for its fulfillment. Now, Wallace Wattles, in the book Science of Getting Rich, said that desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibility within, seeking expression without, through your action. Desire is a want that is properly planted in the subconscious mind. When you plant it often enough, it takes on a power of its own. That's when it becomes a desire. So number 2, a definite plan expressed in continuous action. Number 3, a mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, including negative suggestions of relatives, friends, and acquaintances. This is so important. You can keep that stuff outside, but do not let it in. These are people you're close to, so it's so easy to get emotionally involved in their melodrama. Don't let it happen. Number 4, you need a friendly alliance with one or more persons who will encourage one to follow through with both plan and purpose. These 4 steps are essential for success in all walks of life. Hope you enjoyed hearing them. See you tomorrow for our last day in this video series. So why do so many people do so well in life while so many others do not? There's a recording by Earl Nightingale that many people challenge themselves to listen to for 30 consecutive days, and I'll put a link in the description for you. It's a great recording, and I've saved it for the last day because this isn't the end. This is just the beginning. You want to do some form of study every day. It's the only way to raise your consciousness, and it's an increase in consciousness that you're really after. Nothing's created or destroyed. Everything is already here. It's a matter of becoming aware of its presence. It's a matter of becoming aware of the potential you've got locked up within you. We have been blessed. When I look back, if someone had told me that I could just listen to this Earl Nightingale recording and do what he says, that I could have everything I want, I couldn't have believed what was going to happen. 3 years ago, I was imagining sharing this 21-day video series with you. And now, here we are. I've shared this information before when I believed the people that asked me to believe it believed it. And now I'm saying I believe it. And I'm asking you to believe it, not because you believe it, but because you believe I believe it. I'm so grateful to be able to study this information, and it is an honor and a privilege to get to share it with you. So stay plugged in, and if there's people you know that you think would benefit from being in this group, please invite them, and I hope to see you soon on one of my Zoom calls. Thank you for coming.